आरती कोरे ना ब्रह्मा आदि देव गाने आरती कोरे ना नर हरि आदि कोरी चंवर डुलाया संजय मुकुंद बासु घोष आदि गाया संजय शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला मधुर मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे बहु कोटि चंद्र जीनी बदन उज्ज्वला के बाहो कोटि चंद्र जीनी वदन उज्ज्वला गल देशे बनमाला कोरे झलमाला गल देशे बनमाला कोरे झलमाला शिवा शुक नारद प्रेमे गदगादा शिवा शुक नारद प्रेमे गदगादा भक्ति विनोद देखे गोरार संपादा शिवा शुक नारद प्रेमे गदगादा शिवाशुक नारद प्रेमे गदगद भक्ति विनोद देखे घोरार संपादा भक्ति शिव शुक नारद देखे गौरार संपादा भक्ति विनोद देखे गौरार संपादा भक्ति विनोद देखे गौरार संपादा कि बजायो जयो गौरा चांदे आरती के शोभा जानवी तट बने जग मन लोभा नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात देशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्यत देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। नित्यानंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाजक आचार्य अश्वत श्री श्रीमद इज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाजक आचार्य अश्वत श्री श्रीमद इज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Hiranyakasipurvakshaha Silatankanakalaye Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha बाहे नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरे नाका अर्पुद सिंगा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदत्ता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल नरसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की गौर प्रेमानंद
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. किशोर किशोरी की जय, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय. So thank you so much for being here with us. On behalf of our founder Acharya and ISKCON Chicago, I would like to welcome all of you for our Sunday Feast program. Is there anybody here for the very first time today? Okay. You can raise your hands. Yes. Thank you so much. Warm welcome. We will have a little introduction for those who are here for the very first time. Krishna Sundar Prabhu will be helping you out at 6:30 after the class. Please join him. He will be in the lobby and he will make arrangement for the session, a short session with you and also your prasadam. Then we will be celebrating Ram Navami, the appearance day of Lord Ramchandra, on Thursday, March 30th. The program will be starting here in the evening and festivities will continue, which will end with the prasadam at the end. We have arranged or are in the process of arranging parking at the Byline Bank's parking lot. I think if you are familiar with it, it is on Morse and Clark. So you can park your cars there on the festival day. Then there's another workshop which is scheduled on April 1st. The title is Destiny. You see the flyer here. Basically, it is a very good opportunity to know about can we shape our destiny. So it is a workshop or a seminar which is free. You just have to register. Please go to ISKCON Chicago's website. You will find the link for registration. One Mali Pandit Prabhu, who is a very nice devotee, will be conducting the seminar. And finally, we are going to have a very amazing devotee speak on a very amazing topic called Amazing Soul. So let's welcome Chaitanya Kishore Prabhu with a warm, loud Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you.
Okay. We'll do a little kirtan and then we'll discuss. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So thank you all for joining the Sunday Feast program at Sri Sri Kishore Kishori Temple. We will quickly do some auspicious incantation, Mangalacharan, to so that I can speak something of value with the blessings of our acharyas. So, if you know, please repeat. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सवधुतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। All right. So it is said, one time Prabhupada was interviewed by one interviewer, and he was asking, so Swamiji, are you perfect? Because he was preaching in the Western countries. So there was a challenge question: are you perfect? Everybody, like all your disciples, say you are perfect being. So Prabhupada said a very nice thing. He said, I may not be perfect, but the message that I carry is perfect. So if you follow the message that I'm saying, you will become perfect. So that is the case with me. I am not perfect. Prabhupada said, maybe I'm telling you I'm not perfect, but but the message that we carry, the Bhagavad Gita as it is, which has been given by Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas, that is perfect. If you take even one sutra or one message from to heart and implement in your life, there is a guarantee you will make your lives perfect. So that is the power of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Also in the Bhagavatam, one of our scriptures says that message of Godhead, even spoken incorrectly, not in a chronological order, or not grammatically correct, is relished by devotees whose heart are pure. So I request all of you to please, be that kind of devotees and take the essence. Please neglect all that, the imperfectness that I have in my presentation. Whatever good you find today is because of the mercy of my Guru Maharaj and all the acharyas in our disciplic succession. And whatever imperfections, I take the full responsibility, definitely. But please don't take that. so, all right. So today's topic, we're going to talk about Amazing Soul. That's the title. Now, little recap. I want to give a little summary, a little context to how we came to this topic and what are we going to talk about today. I have been announcing this from the beginning of the year that our mission in this year is to understand Bhagavad Gita as a fundamental scripture to the basics of Bhagavad Gita as a foundational scripture, right? Is very essential because if we don't understand the foundation of who we are, what is our principles. Actually, Prabhupada said that Bhagavad Gita is the ABCD of spiritual life. Now, ABCD means it is the foundational principle of spiritual life. It's very contrary because when you talk to people outside, it's, oh, Bhagavad Gita is too high philosophy for us to understand. But Prabhupada says it is the ABCD. It is the starting point. Yeah. So, and then you have Bhagavatam, and then you have Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the graduate and the postgraduate study of spiritual life. So, if you don't understand the basics very well, if you don't have a good foundation, everything that we build on top of it is going to just fall as pack of cards, right? So this principle, this foundational principle is very important. Just like in a foundation in a house, if the foundation is not strong, a little wind, a little storm will destroy your house, right? Same thing, a little storm in our lives, if our foundational principles are not solid, will destroy us, will definitely shake us up completely. So that is why we wanted to understand Bhagavad Gita as presented as it is by our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. Now it is very essential. So we are going in a chronological order. If you understand, if you have been following the first month in January, we the 4 weeks we talked about introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. What is Bhagavad Gita? Where was it spoken? So those who are new, it was spoken in a battlefield. It was spoken because there was a war between cousins, cousin brothers, the Pandava side and the Kaurava side. The Pandavas were the good side, Kaurava was the bad side, and Arjuna, who is one of the Pandavas or the king on one of the sides, is friends with God, Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Lord. And when he sees his relatives in front of him, where he's supposed to kill them, now that's a very precarious situation. We are not in that trouble, but he was in this dilemma whether he should kill or not. He was a good man, but it was a call of duty. Just like a police officer, if he's wearing a uniform and some of his relatives are not doing the right thing, they're criminals, as a call of duty is supposed to arrest them even though they have a relationship with them. It's same thing with Arjuna. He is basically put in the situation for upholding the principles of dharma, religion. He has to fight his own cousins, his own relatives, his grandfather, his teacher, whom he loved the most. It's a very difficult situation he was in. And at this time, he is asking counsel. He's actually surrendering to the Supreme Lord Krishna, and he is basically getting some instructions from him to what should he be doing at this point of time. So that was our first introduction. Then in the next next month, the 4 weeks of February, we talked about the confusion and dilemma that Arjuna is in. Just now, what I spoke, right? And we, more or less, in all our lives, we have small and big confusions and dilemmas all the time. So it is not just that Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjun for his dilemma. Through Arjun, it was spoken to us as well, so that we can come out of those confusions which we deal with in day-to-day life. So that was our second month of this whole series of going back to basics of Bhagavad Gita as it is. In this month, we are talking about, so once we discussed about the confusions that we have, now we're trying to go towards a solution. What should we be doing, right? So the basic principle is to know who we are. Yeah. If we don't know who we are, just like in a mathematical expression, the first step in a mathematical expression, if it gets wrong, do you think the answer will be right? No, right? Unless the examiner is, like not in his normal state, you will not get the right answer, not the right marks. So the first step, if the basics are wrong, if we don't understand who we are, and we misidentify, we live a life of that misidentification, at the end of the day, the result is not right. Though the purpose of human life is not achieved. That is what is Bhagavad Gita trying to tell us. Yeah. So that is why in this month we were talking about who we are. Who am I? That is the theme of this month, which more or less relates to the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. In the first week, Sachidanand Prabhu, who is one of our senior devotees, he very nicely introduced this topic. He talked about the eternal duty of a soul. A soul is eternally a part of the Lord, and his duty is to serve the Lord. Right? So he introduced the topic in that way. He also gave many references to understand how we are not this body. Just like in common language we say, "This is my hand, this is my head." So he gave that reference. He says that we are saying my hand, my head, my body. Who is that I? Yeah, who is that I? It is something external to us. That's what the soul is. In the second week, His Grace Vanmali Krishna Prabhu very nicely gave analysis of the anatomy, or how the soul is placed within a subtle and a gross body. Yeah, so he gave a very nice explanation explaining how giving the analogy of a driver and a car. A car is like the body, driver is like the soul. Yeah, you may put whatever petrol in the car, but it is not going to satisfy the driver. Right? Same thing, too much sense gratification will not satisfy the soul. So he gave that example, very beautifully explained. In the last week, Hargesh Sham Gopi Mataji went a little more detailed on the mind or the subtle gross body. I mean, subtle body covering that the soul has. She gave a very nice explanation on the acronym mind and how mind is so powerful. It influences us to basically do things which we don't want to do. There's a very nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Arjuna is asking this question to Krishna: why do I feel like somebody is forcing me to perform wrong things? Why is that? So that is later in the third chapter. Krishna explains that. So very nicely she explained about how subtle body influences us, the soul, and you see we're not able to come out of that whole situation. Today, I'm going to talk about a little bit of summary of everything because today is the last week of this series or this theme. From next month, we're going to talk more about demystifying yoga, which is another process on how we can link up with Krishna. So we'll discuss more about that in the next month. But frankly speaking, just 4 weeks of talking about soul for 45 minutes does not do justice. You should see, I would recommend everybody, this is just a teaser, it's like a trailer. We would want everybody to take the books, understand them. Prabhupada used to say, scrutinizingly study my books. Scrutinizingly studying means at least 15 minutes you can take out of your day. Read one paragraph, one page, one verse, even one word. That will help. That will help immensely to understand what we are here for. So this topic, Amazing Soul, is what I'm going to talk about is in a summary of what we had discussed in the entire month. And I'll conclude the topic today. So I want to discuss 3 main topics today in 3 sections. We'll see how much we can complete in the time we have. Maybe we'll be able to cover only 2. So the third one will be homework. Everybody has to go and read. So the first one I want to talk about how amazing the soul is. How is the soul amazing? There is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. We'll try to analyze that verse and see how Krishna is presenting this soul as amazing. Then we'll talk about the characteristics of the soul. Because anything we need to identify, perceive, we need to know how that looks, what it feels like. What is its characteristics? Like if I say this is sugar, sugar is sweet. So if I taste sugar and it is salty, it is not sugar. So I know the characteristics of sugar. That is why similarly there are characteristics of soul given, which we can understand and perceive how the soul will be. And then the third point I wanted to discuss was about transmigration of the soul, which probably we will not be able to get to. But anyway, we'll see. What I want to do is after each section, I want to take maybe 1 or 2 questions. I don't want to keep it till the end because, with a speaker like me, where my voice sounds like a lullaby, people tend to sleep. So I want to keep it interactive. So maybe after each section, we'll take a question and then we'll have some discussion and then we'll move on. Okay? Is that okay? All right. So there is a very nice verse, 2nd chapter, 29th verse. 2nd chapter, 29th verse. It reads like this. Ascharyavat paschari kaschidenam, ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya, ascharyavat chanyamanya shunoti, shutva painam vedana chaiva kaschit. Now, I'll give the translation. Some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. Some hear him of his amazing. While others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Yeah. So this word soul is very commonplace. You can hear this everywhere. Many people talk about spirit soul, but how many of them actually understand what the soul is? Yeah, very difficult. Unless you actually go through a systematic study, very difficult. You cannot understand the soul. Some people think the body is soul. Some people think the mind is soul. Some people think intelligence is the soul. It is a very hazy understanding of the soul. Soul is a very common word, but it is not very easily understood. Now, in our scriptures, in the Vedic literature, you'll see how amazing the soul is. The dimension of the soul is described. What is the size of the soul? It is described. It says, when you take the tip of your hair, if you pluck one hair, yeah, and if you can see the tip, I'm not sure how many people can actually see the tip without a microscope or something. So if you can see the tip, and if you have a blade which can cut that tip into 100 pieces, cut that tip into 100 pieces, okay, that is not the size of the soul. You take one of those pieces and cut them again into 100 pieces. That is the size of the soul. Can you imagine how small it is? Isn't it amazing? Very, very small, tiny, minute spark of energy. But how wonderful it is! It is moving a big elephant, and it is also in the microbe which occupy 1 inch of space. Millions of them occupy 1 inch of space. That is how amazing the soul is. Right? So this is the Vedic literatures which describe the size of the soul. Now one may say, who has seen it? Nobody has seen it. But seeing many of the things we have not seen. How many of you have seen atom? Nobody. I'm very surprised, but we all believe in atoms. Right? So how many of us have seen protons, neutrons that people talk about? None of us. Right? So these are the things which many of the things we hear from the authorities, and we believe them because they have done the work, they are knowledgeable, they know. Similarly, our source of knowledge is the Vedic literatures, and they have done the research, they have understood, that is coming through the disciplic succession, and that is how we realize it. See, there are two things in the Vedic literature. One is called Gyan, or just the knowledge, theoretical knowledge, and other is called Vigyan, or it's called practical knowledge or realized knowledge. Okay, just like everybody must have eaten gulab jamun here, right? Anybody not eaten gulab jamun? Anybody knows what is gulab jamun? That is good. So, oh, you don't, you haven't eaten gulab jamun? So you must eat then. So gulab jamun is a sweet savory which is brown in color, juicy, very sweet. When you eat them, it just puts you in ecstasy. Very famous in ISKCON. So that gulab jamun, if I talk to somebody about this who has not eaten it, they say, yeah, okay, nice. Gulab jamun is sweet. It has, it's around brown in color, and it is liquidy. It's nice. But unless he eats or she eats, she'll not know what the taste is, what actually. And then this is how Prabhupada started the Mulam, by giving the gulab jamuns. It's prasad. So when you eat gulab jamuns, then you feel or you understand the actual taste of gulab jamuns, right? That is called realized knowledge. You realized that this is really very sweet, really very nice, really very tasty, very palatable. Unless somebody, if you just describe them, they may not know exactly what it is. So yes, getting knowledge is good, but actual knowledge is your realized knowledge. Yeah. So to come from this stage to this stage is what Krishna consciousness is all about. Srila Prabhupada actually presented this whole movement. There are so many practical aspects to this movement, and which basically makes us understand, take this journey from Gyan to Vigyan. Many people hear about the soul, many people have a lot of discourses about the soul, but how do we actually realize the soul? That is something which is very, if we understand it, it will make our lives very, very successful. Yeah, very, very successful. That is what it is. So amazing soul. That is why that's how it is basically understood by the Bhagavad Gita. And when Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, he's not speaking some gyan or some just philosophical understanding of the soul. He is actually in front of people who are trying to kill him. He's in a battlefield. This is not the time for armchair philosophy. Right? Arjuna is asking very relatable and very pertinent questions which he needs answers right away, so that he can take some action on it. Right? So most of us get stuck here because as soon as we get out of this temple room, we forget about this. We don't put it into practice. So that's where our, all these programs that we are trying to arrange, these discussions, talking to devotees, engaging in practical devotional service, that will make us realize, what the soul is. We may hear whatever, we may hear a lot of things about the soul, but unless we put that into practice, you will not be able to realize it. Yeah. And so self-realization is that why that's Prabhupada writes in this purport, why is self-realization so difficult for people to understand the soul? He says most of the people don't have time. When you ask, okay, come to a Sunday feast program, there will be a lecture. Oh, lecture, I don't want to do it. So, because before unless you hear it, you will not be able to put it in practice. Right? That's the point. So, Prabhupada says people don't find time to do this because of this age of Kali. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very beautiful verse. Manda sumanda matayo manda bhakya hi upadirta. He says this age of Kali, this age of coral, is a place where people are in general lazy about spiritual topics. Yeah. Chicago has such a big population, and only few hundred people are here. Right? We're talking about the soul, which is we ourselves, but only few people are here interested. So this is the situation. Those who are interested, they are cheated, and that is why people lose faith, right? And some people don't even want to try. That is how it is. Manda sumanda matayo manda bhakya upadata. So, that this verse says that people in this age are less intelligent. One may say, what are you talking about? We're making so many advancements of medical science and everything. Yeah, that is on the gross platform. In the older times, they were more subtly elevated, spiritually elevated. We have actually come to a gross level right now. So, from the eyes of the scriptures, we are not advanced. Yeah, from the eyes of the scripture, we actually degrade. That's the idea. So that is so amazing to see. So how can we realize, or what should we be doing? What are some of the things that we can do to realize this soul? So first thing that Prabhupada writes in this purport is to understand the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Don't try to interpret it. Just understand it as Arjuna did, with a submissive mood, to see what it is saying. Hypothetically understand, accepting what Krishna is saying, putting that into practice, and see if it works. See if it works. It's an experiment on ourselves. There's nothing to lose, but there's lots to gain. Because you see, many people who have implemented this in their lives, you will see of peace, and you will see their lives have transformed for the good. So when you see that, you can definitely. That is why this association is so important. Coming to Sunday feast programs, meeting with devotees, talking about Krishna consciousness, participating in these events will generate that desire in our heart to take this process more seriously. You see, that's the idea. So that's how it is. And then also one more problem Prabhupada says is people don't prioritize things properly. Yeah, the things that are important are left aside. Things that are unimportant, people put a lot of focus on them. Yeah, that is how people are tuned or programmed in these ages, in this age of Kali. That's what is happening. See, just try to understand. If we understand we are the soul, there are two things, right? There are two expressions. Tell me which one is right. One says, I'm a human being, I'm having a spiritual experience. I'm a human being, I'm having a spiritual experience. Another expression is, I am a spirit soul, I'm having a human experience. Which one is correct? You all are like devotees. You guys know, yeah? Second one is correct. This is what Bhagavad Gita is telling us. But in general, 90% of people think this. I am a human being, I'm having a spiritual experience, something which is outside of me. That is not right. Bhagavad Gita is tipping this logic completely over his head. He's saying you are the spirit soul and you are having a human experience, which is your human body is something external to you. You are a spirit soul. That is the thing that Arjuna forgot, and that is what Krishna is reminding. When he was started to lament, Arjuna is saying, "Why are you lamenting?" Krishna is saying, "Why are you lamenting? You're lamenting for the things that are not supposed to be lamented. You're giving importance to things that are not supposed to be given importance." Right? So the active principle is the soul, not the body. So people when tend to forget that, then as I said, our basic principle, our basic foundation is the body, then our whole equation goes wrong. And then our human life is not successful. And at the end of the day, we live like animals, we die like animals. Yeah, that's what happens. So that is what the scriptures say. Then, without understanding the soul, everything is waste of time and energy. This is what Prabhupada lies in his last line of this purport. There is a very beautiful verse again in Bhagavatam, which says, "Dharmas sanushtita hapumsa viksvakshenu kathasuya na utpadaya yadiratim shrama evahi kevalam. What it means is, if whatever occupation you do, whatever activity you do, whatever work or whatever effort you put in understanding something, if it does not create a interest or a longing to hear and associate with the Lord, about Krishna, to hear about Krishna, hear about Lord, associate with the devotees, then whatever you do is a waste of time and energy. Very strong statement. Very strong statement. Why is that? Because as I said, if you think that you're the body, you don't understand the soul, then you will not act like a soul. You'll act like a body. And then at the end of the day, we live like animals and we die like animals. That is why it is important for us to understand who we are in the primary phase. So I'll take a pause here. Any questions so far? Anybody has any questions? Anybody? I think I put everybody to sleep. All right, okay, so we'll continue. So maybe we can get to the third one also then. Yeah. All right. So this verse, that verse number second, chapter 29th verse, as I said, it talks about the amazing nature of the soul, as many people don't understand what the soul is. Now, this whole chapter, second chapter, is very interesting. Initially, Krishna, from verse number 11, he starts talking about the soul. He gives the gyan, the knowledge part of things, and then later on, he gives a very summary understanding of how to implement this knowledge that I'm talking about. Yeah, that's called yoga. That's what is rest of the Bhagavad Gita talking about. So, from verses 2.11 to 2.28 is where Krishna gives very interesting understanding of the characteristics of the soul. Right? Just like I said, if you want to understand something, you want to know how does it look, what is its nature, how do I identify such a thing. Yeah. So something like a spirit soul which cannot be perceived by material eyes or cannot be seen, how do we understand that is there in the body? Yeah. um, just like we cannot see air, we cannot see intelligence, we cannot see mind, but we can perceive it. We can perceive it through certain characteristics, right? When there is like a flag fluttering, we know there is a lot of air or wind going on. Or when somebody is very intelligent, we know, oh, this guy has a lot of intelligence. So you cannot see the intelligence, but you can perceive by their actions and certain things. Similarly, Krishna gives a lot of understanding, a lot of verses which explain the characteristics of the soul. Very important for us to understand, because then we can understand how the soul moves, what is the symptoms, how do we perceive it in our day-to-day lives. If you understand that, then we come to a spiritual platform. That is where it is, from the Gyan perspective, of course, not the realized knowledge yet. So the first thing he says, that the symptom of the soul is consciousness. Okay. Consciousness is a symptom of the soul. That is specifically mentioned in the second chapter. Every one of us know we are conscious beings. We feel. If I pinch my hand here, I feel the pain. Yeah. And if I pinch a dead body, it doesn't feel anything. It's just a lump of matter, isn't it? So the symptom of the soul is consciousness. The consciousness is coming from the soul. This is contrary to what in earlier times Prabhupada used to have a lot of discussions with scientists, and they used to think that it is because of a combination of matter. So Prabhupada used to give this argument that if matter, while combining different chemicals, you can create a consciousness, then what's wrong with the dead body, right? Dead body also has the same composition, same chemicals. Why is it not able to create the consciousness? Because the soul has moved on. Yeah, the soul has moved on. So the consciousness, the symptom is the soul. Soul is what carries the consciousness. So just imagine if right now our absorption or the consciousness is absorbed in material objects. in our sense gratification, in pleasing our body, pleasing our family members, doing whatever, earning a lot of money, becoming famous, is all material things. Our consciousness is absorbed in that. But what Bhagavad Gita is trying to tell us is you just transfer your consciousness. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to change your position. This is the moment of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Stane Sthiti Gata. He says, you stay there wherever you are. But just transfer your consciousness from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. So you redirect, do what you're doing, but you do it for Krishna. Yeah. So you redirect it for the supreme spiritual soul. That is Krishna. What happens? Because soul, the consciousness is a symptom of the soul. If you focus your consciousness on Krishna, you realize yourself, you realize soul. You will start realizing yourself as a soul. You see, that's the process. That's what Krishna consciousness is all about. That's what the word itself is, Krishna consciousness. You become conscious of Krishna. Yeah. That's the whole idea of Krishna consciousness. So that's one thing. So the symptom, I'll just repeat it again. The symptom of the soul is consciousness. Consciousness is what identifies that this person has a soul, or this is a person. There's a soul in there. The other thing he says, the soul is eternal. Soul is eternal. Soul doesn't take any birth, never dies. Yeah, it is a continuum. Just like the third law of Newton. What is the third law of Newton? Energy is never destroyed. It can only be transformed, right? Same thing. Soul can never be destroyed. It can only be transmigrated. It goes into another body. Okay? And that's what we call as reincarnation. It's nothing very mystical. It's just that, Krishna gives this very beautiful example. Second chapter, 13th verse. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha te hantraha praptir dhiras tatra na muyati. He says, like you change your body from boyhood to youth to old age, at the time of death, the body becomes useless. It moves on to another body. Yeah, because you cannot use that body anymore. So the soul just moves on to another body. So my body when I was 5-year-old is completely different from what I am here right now. Right? So we call it as growth, but actually we are changing. Our whole entire body is changed. You see, we're getting new bodies every second. That is how it works. So this is what Krishna explains. To understand further, Krishna says, Vasamsi chirnani yatha vihaya, which means just like a person changes old garments, worn out garments, the soul changes body when it is no longer useful. Okay, very interesting. So do we cry when we take out our clothes and give it to Salvation Army? Oh, this shirt, I loved so much. We don't do that, right? But we cry a lot when the body is gone. And it is natural because you lived in this body for so long. There is a certain attachment there. But the idea here is to understand that we are separate from the body. If that knowledge comes to us, then we will not lament that much. We will not give up our duties because somebody has left the world, right? That is the argument which we'll discuss in the transmigration section of the presentation if we get time. Yeah? So that is another thing that Krishna mentions. Further, Krishna says, he gives a very interesting definition for us to understand the soul. So because we live in this material world and we are surrounded with matter, earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the 5 elements by which the material world is made up of. And there are other subtle elements as well. But primarily what we see is these 5 elements. Yeah? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So the definition that Krishna gives for us to understand what is the characteristic of the soul, he says, Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledayantapo, na soshaiti maruta. He says that the soul cannot be cut by weapons. Weapon is made of earth, yeah, like in our normal sword or anything. It's made of earth, and it cannot be cut by that. But the body can be cut by that. So soul is exactly opposite to that, yeah, which cannot be cut by the weapon. So nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka. You cannot burn the soul. The body can be burned, right? And then You cannot wet the soul with water. This body can be wet by water, and you cannot dry by air. So the body can be dried by air. So exactly the opposite. What we think that some people think that body is the soul. Krishna is negating that right away. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chaityam kaitapo, na soshaiti maruta. So you cannot. So a very very interesting definition to make us understand the soul is eternal. It is antimatter. It is not matter. Yeah. That is what Krishna is giving. That is the definition of antimatter. It is not matter. And to summarize all this, there is in the Vedic literatures in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says the soul is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal. Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. This is the actual intrinsic nature of each and every one of us as a spirit soul. We are eternal, we are full of knowledge, and we are fully blissful. But wait a minute, I don't experience that. I don't feel that I'm eternal. Knowledge full of ignorance. And bliss is rarely I see bliss. Yeah. When I eat prasad, I see bliss. Other times it is not bliss. Right? So how is that? Yeah, again, we are covered by this. Our covering is so strong. Our mental subtle energy has so much overpowered us. Gross elements have so much overpowered us as spirit souls that we experience exactly the opposite thing. We experience asat, which is temporary. We think, we understand we are temporary. The body is temporary. We understand or we experience ignorance, a lot of ignorance, because the material world like fire, air, ether, and all these things are very inert. They're inert objects. They don't have any knowledge. And bliss, we don't experience bliss as well, because it is the material covering is on top of us. Something is covered, we cannot experience that. So the whole process is to realize this thing, and then experience the joy of Krishna consciousness. Then we start realizing, oh yeah, this process works when you apply it nicely. Again, it will not work overnight. Let me put a disclaimer. You'll say, Prabhuji, you said and I started. You said yesterday or last Saturday, Sunday. Next Sunday you come and say, I don't experience any bliss. Your process doesn't work. It won't happen that way. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, effort. But we are lucky, because in this age of Kali Yuga, age of coral, as I said, is a very difficult age. There's so much of distractions. People are distracted right, left, and center. This iPad, iPhones, um, it's weapons of mass distraction. So they will distract us every moment of time, right? So in such a situation, Krishna has also given us a lot of concession. By chanting the holy names, we can realize God. We don't have to do elaborate yagyas. We don't have to do a lot of tapasya or a lot of austerities. We don't have to become knowledgeable people to understand this. Simply by associating with devotees. That also is difficult. For us, it seems very difficult. It seems like climbing a mountain. As compared to other yugas, it's like a mole, a small thing. But for us, it is like a mountain. Oh, chanting the holy names. Wow. My mind is very distracted. I cannot even chant 1 minute. As soon as I start chanting, a phone rings. Right? It's like an apsara distracting you. That's how it is. So, very difficult in this age. So that is what basically we are. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. Soul has a form. It is not formless. Again, when I say the intrinsic characteristic of soul is Satchit Ananda, it doesn't mean that everybody is same. No, everybody has their own individuality. All souls are individual souls. They have own desires. They have their own ways of communicating and relating to Krishna. Everybody is different. Yet everybody on a spiritual platform can relate with each other. That is why Prabhupada used to always say that United Nations can only be established on spiritual basis. You cannot establish cooperation on a material platform, because there is always be so many differences. But if we understand our intrinsic nature, that oh, this person is also Satchidananda, this person is also Satchidananda, he is also full of bliss, he is also eternal, and this person is also full of knowledge. If you understand that this person is a soul, and we start relating with each other like that, then that will bring unity. And that is the requirement, that is the age, that is why this knowledge is so important to be given. This knowledge has to be given. First, we have to understand. First, we have to understand it, implement in our lives, and then act in such a way that people will ask, how is that you feel so happy all the time, blissful all the time? Then you get a chance to tell. Yeah, yeah. So, and then you can tell, okay, this is what the process is. Please join and see, feel the happiness. That is what it is. So, Satchidananda Vigraham. We have 5 minutes. I'll quickly go through something very interesting. Before that, I pause. Is there any questions on this topic? Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just had a quick question. I used to have a geology teacher, and he said that if the scientists are able to isolate or properly manage the genetic material found in the fossils, like dinosaur fossils or any old ancient animals, then we're able to bring them to life, bring them back to life. So it seems to me that he was equating the genetic material with the soul. I mean, we didn't go that far, but he was trying to make a point that if you have the genetic material and you're able to somehow uh, obtain it or isolate it, you'll be able to bring the dead animal back to life.
Yeah.
So, what would you say about that too?
Yeah, so that has been going on for a very long time. In Prabhupada's time, they used to do these kind of things. So his answer was, I'll give his answer. I don't know about myself. I'll give his answer. He said they're giving post-dated checks. Okay. It's a theory. It's not practical yet. They have not done this yet. They're saying they could do it, but they haven't done it yet. And Prabhupada said they will never be able to do it. So it is his thing. So and this is how Krishna has made the soul cannot. That's what I was saying. People think that combination of matter creates consciousness. That's not true. That's not happening like that. But you see, wonder of nature. If you have an earthworm, if you cut them into half, both the earthworms start moving. Have you seen that? How is that? So
Pretty amazing.
One disciple actually asked Prabhupada about this. If you cut the earthworm, both the earthworm starts moving. So where is the soul? How is the soul got cut into two? But Bhagavad Gita says you cannot cut the soul. So he said no. What happens is immediately nature gives another soul which takes the control of that body, and he starts moving. That's how amazing it is.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So yeah. So thank you for your question. Okay, anyone else? Okay, there's one question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it's a wonderful class. It's one thing, how do we, because we can intellectually understand that we're not the body, that we're the soul, okay, by reading Bhagavad Gita, and we can actually believe that. But how do we begin, what processes do we need to include so that individuals can begin to relate to one another as spirit souls?
Yeah. So one time, some disciples of Prabhupada showed his birth chart to an astrologer. And the astrologer said a very interesting thing. He said, this man is very powerful. He can create a house where all of the world can live together. Okay. How is he doing that? Through the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada didn't invent anything new. Okay. He gave as it is what he got from the acharyas, from what Sri Krishna gave. The process. Yeah. The process of Krishna consciousness that Prabhupada has given is wonderfully practical. You see? You see what we do here? 5 o'clock we do kirtan, the arti, deity worship, speaking about your realizations to devotees, right? Understanding Prabhupada's book scrutinizingly and taking guidance from our seniors on how do we implement this. There is so much structure he has provided, so much help from different angles that we can progress. Right? He has given. So we are fond of eating. He gave us prasad. Right? To realize the prasad is a spiritual food. Yeah. And when we realize that, the soul gets nourished. We automatically start giving up our old habits and old eating habits and everything. And we like prasad. We like to hear music. He gave us kirtan. You see, we like to talk. He gave us this wonderful books to discuss. So, in what Prabhupada has given us, if we stick to that and if we sincerely do it, we definitely will realize ourselves as soul. Does it answer your question, Prabhu? And there are many other quotes from like Rupa Goswami and other acharyas who basically explain the process. Adav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tata. That is a whole ladder. First you have some faith, then you do Sadhu Sangha or associate with devotees. That's how you progress towards understanding yourself. Hare Krishna. I think we are on top of the hour. So I'm going to skip the last section. I was just going to talk about the transmigration of the soul. Very briefly, I'll tell you. This is a conversation, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, our Acharya, gives a very beautiful conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. The questions that we have, right? We said, okay, the soul is the important piece. Many people ask this question. Oh, but how about the body? You cannot neglect the body. Like Krishna is saying, why are you crying for Bhishma and Drona who are dying? They are spirit souls. They're going to go to a new body. What is the point of crying? But then Arjuna comes up with a question saying that, but you know what? They have been in this body for so long. I've been seeing them like this. There is some attachment to them. How can I just not feel bad about it or lament about it? So Krishna says that when you change your body from boyhood to youthhood, do you cry? No. But then Arjuna says, but I do cry when I become old from youth. I feel sad. I become old now. Right? So then Krishna says, then that is the nature that you have to tolerate. That is what this nature is made of. Duality. Happiness, distress will be there in this world. But for that reason, don't give up your duty. You see? That is where Krishna is trying to tell. There is no harm crying or lamenting. But don't become so overwhelmed with this that you stop doing things which are you meant to do. Your human life, your eternal duty of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is what basically this subject matter talks about in depth. Yeah, and it is not a sectarian subject matter, because you see, in the entire discussion, I never talked about Hinduism or Christianism or Muslim or whatever. A Hindu also has a soul, Christian also has a soul, Muslim also. Every living entity has a soul. So it is not about sectarism. This book is a scientific understanding of soul. Now, as we understand our science, we understand gross science. We experiment with test tubes. But this is the experiment that you have to do for yourself. Understanding the Gyan part and then applying it to realize the Vigyan part or the realized knowledge part. All right. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So the next part of the program, and I'll take the announcer role. The next part of the program is to go up for the prasadam. Any new devotees who have come, please see Krishna Sundar Prabhu is right here. He's going to give a little orientation and also arrange for your prasadam. So please go and talk to him. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Please do come back. We do have kirtan from 7 to 8 here. Thank you.
which tune am I singing? You are the leader. My sister knows. She said she would remind me. Who? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Boom. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaura Gauranita Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Kishore, Kishori Jaya Kishore, Kishori Jaya Kishore, Kishori Jaya Kishore, Kishori. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Hare Krishna. Which one it is? No, it's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Someone playing. जय श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Kishore Kishore Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण गरीब कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 किशोर किशोरी कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे गौरंगा हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरि बोल कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama oh, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama oh, Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hribo Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hribo Hare Rama Rama Hare Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Kishore Kishore, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, bolo bolo, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ribo, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ivo, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, oh Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, oh, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, O Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, O Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, O Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Radhe Shyam, Jaya 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 Radhe Radhe Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe Shyam Shyam, Radhe 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 Shyam Shyam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Bol, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Gauranga, Rama Rama. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 ओ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ ओ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी ओ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा ओ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा ओ जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी जगन्नाथ स्वामी ओ नयन पथगामी भाव तुम्हें नयन ओ नयन पथगामी भाव तुम्हें ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 जय गौरानिताय गौरा जय गौरानिताय गौर जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय ओ निताय गौरांगा निताय गौर O Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. O Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. O Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. O Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhu. Jaya Prabhupada. O Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. O Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Swami. O Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur. Hari Bol, 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 Hari. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari. Hari Bol, Hari. Jai Shri Kishore Kishori ki. Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki. जय जय श्री श्री गौनिताय भगवान की. हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की. कलिजुग पावन श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की. समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की. जय श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जी की. जय जय श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह स्वामी की. भक्त शिरोमणि श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की. जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की. शिला गुरुदेव की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे हरे बोल